All
Oh
right.
wow!
Whoa,
Whoa.
what was that?
Got me. I was picking in my nose over here.
Bro, I'm used to the 2 minute
Hold up,
counting.
what was that?
Hey,
What
whoa,
was that?
The Flash.
They gotta let us know before they make an adjustment like that. I'm just saying.
I like the new stinger right there, but dang.
And we are live. You know the other countdown. It lets people get rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
We might gotta tell them.
Yeah, that was real quick. At least make it 15 to 30 seconds at least.
Bro, that joint said dome, 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 and you're on. I'm glad I didn't walk up like I normally do.
Bro, if you'd have walked off,
that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, 2 minutes is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know if 10 seconds is a sweet spot, but 2 minutes is ridiculous. Like,
but you know, the funniest thing is that on the playback, people act like they can't fast forward it though. Yeah,
no, I can't stand that. When they be like, bro, why you got a long intro?
Fast forward it. Yeah.
I feel like the 2 minute gives people a chance to jump in.
Yeah.
Get
sharing.
Get their drink, whatever they need.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. When you live stream, you gotta get them up in here. You gotta get the crowd going. Right now, they flooding up in here. So shouts out to y'all and happy holidays for everybody celebrating.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody on this Memorial Day. I guess we will start how we always start with John Machota. We have some, I wouldn't call it breaking news, but some interesting news. Yeah. John said I shouldn't. So take it away, John.
I'm just saying, like, this is just a typical, like, I don't know. You listen to that report over again. That's Jalen Ramsey could be made available. And if he does, then the Cowboys could potentially be a team. But there's nobody in the Cowboys that is saying, yeah, we're interested in Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
So, I mean, the key to Jalen Ramsey deal is that Miami's going to have to take on some of the salary or they're not going to be able to trade him. Like, nobody's going to want him for just what his price tag is right now. But, hey, we've talked about this many a times on here, how much they need corner. So believe me, if they want to go and get Jalen Ramsey, I will be the last person that complains about it. I think that'd be a great move, but I just I'll kind of believe it when I see it. But man, what an offseason that would be. Can you imagine that? Yeah. They get Pickens and Jalen Ramsey in the offseason. I mean,
nothing bad to say about the Joneses if they do that.
Yeah, that's moving differently there.
Much.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, is Mike McCarthy mad? Like,
yeah,
damn,
yeah.
But yeah, I just seen. I mean, hey, this is a perfect time of year to get something like that going because there's nothing going on. So why not try and get that stirred up? But hey, maybe they don't get anything done. Maybe they cut him and he becomes a free agent and can sign wherever he wants. Maybe that would be in play. But I don't see anything as of right now happening. But I will say Jalen Ramsey was always the guy that I thought that they should have drafted in 2016, but they went with Zeke and they had success, so that's fine. But and I also think if they signed Jalen Ramsey in 2016, I don't think he ever goes to anywhere else. I think he's still with the Cowboys. I don't think Jerry lets a star corner like that leave the building. So who knows? Maybe his career would have been different too, but he obviously got a Super Bowl. So I'm sure he's happy and he's making a lot of money.
Ramsey is who Morris Claiborne was supposed to be for the Cowboys.
Right.
You know, that's what it is. And I'm with you. If they would have drafted him, they would have treated him like they treated Morris, right? Where they said the best quarterback since Dion, and that never panned out. But yeah, Ramsey
the best. That makes me think now, who is the best corner prospect? I can't think of one better than Ramsey, to be honest with you. Not in the last 10, 15 years.
No, prospect, no. Ramsey was everything.
I don't even think one went that high since Ramsey.
They were a lot of people.
Maybe?
Yeah, Patrick. A lot of people.
Patrick Peterson. He was, but I think he was saying since Dion.
I thought he said
Jeff Okudah was there, but then you know how Jeff Okudah.
He flopped, corner. I'm gonna tell y'all, corner's hard, man.
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, but he's not. Sauce is as a prospect. Yeah, but he's been. You know who's actually been better than him is Patrick Surtain. I would say Patrick Surtain is probably. No, not in the draft process, no. Yeah. But if you're talking about like in the league, I'd probably have him as the best corner in the league.
No. I think John was saying the prospect. Like
prospect, yeah.
Who's got the hype like that? And I don't know.
Okudah. It would be either Okudah or Pat Pete.
Okudah?
Jeff was up there, man.
I think Jeff went. Where did Jeff Okudah get drafted? He got drafted high.
Yeah, he went like third to the Lions.
To the Lions.
Believe me, I didn't want to get into this, but I'll bring it up. Me and Dane Brugler out of the combine. I'll never forget that year. We went and got lunch, and I remember saying to him, I was like, I know you're real high on this Okudah, but there's no way he's like Jalen Ramsey. And he has to be Jalen Ramsey to take him top 5. He's like, no, I think he could be like that type of player. Like, he's going to be a really high pick. I'm like, man, that seems real rich. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. If the Lions don't take him, they're probably taking Tua, and I don't think that ends any better anyway. So it was a coaching staff about to get fired, so they're going to take the best possible player to come in. But, I mean, he wasn't even a good player for them, let alone be drafted to be a great corner. But yeah, no, he was a high prospect though. He was a top 5 pick guy.
Yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
Rams secondary now. Y'all still look good. I like Arnold, but
I mean the Lions.
Lions. I mean Lions.
Talking about the Rams, I know we got a little time to kill.
Yeah.
I know Sky probably wouldn't want to hear this, but that's a team that has went all in and gave up draft picks and is still right back in the fold. Because like if I were to do a power ranking, like if they don't have that fumble versus Philly or what, it was one weird play, they might have beat Philly in Philly. They played them really tough.
They drove they were in like the 10, 15 yard line or whatever about to score, and then obviously they didn't do it. So yeah, they were one play away from being an NFC Championship game again.
Hey John, I want to ask you something. And this is probably egg on my face, but watching Jared Verse beat up Tyler Guyton, did you say to yourself like, man, Jared Verse he's one of those ones? Because
training camp,
at training camp,
he looked like an effing monster in those training camp practices. I was like, oh, I mean, there's when they have one of those training camp practices, there's no time to sit there and be like, oh, geez, what are my favorite college players doing out? Because you're just so busy that you're just trying to get as much content as possible. At least let me speak for myself. What I'm doing during one of those practices, I'm trying to get as much content as possible. And so I'm trying to go to whatever side of the field is going to be the most interesting matchups. And I wasn't even looking for him. And I was like, damn, he was just wrecking shop that entire time. But I didn't think of it as a Guyton thing as much as I was like, oh, he might be able to come in right away and have a good rookie year. And obviously he did. But that Braden Fisk had a really good rookie year too. And I didn't really notice him as much in that training camp setting. But I really like those, man. When training camp can get so boring, I love when they have another team come in there and stir stuff up.
He was good against Philly as far as like, it's so interesting, defensive ends that can get the edge versus defensive ends that win with power.
Right.
And like this cycle, it was like, well, who's the true pass rushy guys? But I'm telling you, like, I remember Verse playing Philly and like really walking through Lane Johnson's face a few times, just like walking him back into the quarterback. I mean, he has NFL strength so maybe that's not an indictment on Guyton because he's doing it. He's did it to a lot of people in the league.
I mean, he makes me think
of DeMarcus Ware, like in today's college football. Like I just don't see DeMarcus Ware staying at Troy. DeMarcus Ware ends up going to Alabama or Auburn or something like that. Not that, I mean, he got drafted high, so it's not like it hurt him. But I mean, Verse is a very late bloomer. He could have came out in the draft the year before that. So. And he stayed.
He was at a small school before.
Yeah, it was at Albany. Yeah.
Interesting story.
Low key, the Rams have been drafting good though.
Especially
Kobe Turner from the interior. You got what 8, 7, 9.
They draft. They know what they're doing, man. So speaking of
that
the
is
defense,
the key to your point though, Foots, is if you're gonna overcome. When you said
you better draft.
Picks. Yeah.
And like sneakily, Dallas hasn't the last 2 years. It's been okay.
And that's the opposite side, right? Like if you're not going to be as active and aggressive, you better be not just the best drafting team, but home runs every round type situation because you can't fall back on trades and free agency where them picks, they didn't care about, the draft at that point. They went out and got productive players. Now it's kind of switched, but they still have that aggressive mindset. So the Rams are kind of in that sweet spot if you were a Rams fan where you feel confident whether they go into the draft or they go into the offseason that they'll do what's necessary to improve.
Let me ask y'all three this. What's been the most Achilles heels of this particular team on drafting? Was it the second or the first round? Because, the last second round draft pick, I'm talking about the Cowboys.
Okay.
That really performed was what? Trayvon Diggs, right? Who else in the second round? Really?
The second round has been very hit or miss, a lot of miss.
Marcus Lawrence.
Boss man fat. I mean, you can go all the way back to Randy Gregory, taking chances with Randy Gregory and Jalen.
Yeah.
They've admitted that's their round they want to, take risk at. And again, it's one of those things with ego with the Joneses is they think they can be different than everyone else in certain aspects of team building. And they're the only ones who look at round 2 as risk-taking round where the rest of the league is like, no, this is a high valued asset that we're not going to play around with.
And they might have done it that Trayvon Diggs year too. The reason that Diggs was a no-brainer for them is because they considered him in the first. And so when he was still there in the second, it was like, all right, well, we're not going to do anything with some injury concern guy or character concern or whatever. Let's just take this guy that we thought about taking in the first. So this is like, what they would call a blinking light. And so that's why they didn't even hesitate there. But yeah, I think of a lot of Sean Lee's and Jalen Smith's and a lot of guys with injury stuff that they were like, yeah, but when they get right, they're first round type players.
And they never got Randy right.
Yeah.
But I think the flip side to what you're saying, Scott, because I was going to agree with you, it's been a second round. Like it's a second round law. But the flip side is this year they went with what they know. They went with when I say what they know, like a clean player. Safe. And I don't call Dono safe because he has upside. Well,
safe is not bad. Safe is not bad.
I think safe to some people may come off as like
it's not bad.
No upside.
No. He's safe. He's clean prospect. He's a safe prospect. He's a good player. There's no baggage. There's no red flags. Where opposite of safe, boss man fat. Randy Gregory, Jalen Smith. Even
do you think Sam Williams was safe, Sky?
No.
Sam
Williams had major red flags that the coach liked him. He went down there and worked him out, and so that's what happened. That's not safe. No,
there was big time off the field concerns.
Schoonmaker safe, but that was a different version.
Schoonmaker was safe, but he can't play. Yeah, he's not.
Marshawn Nealon safe, but a different version. I guess it depends how you look at it. But yeah, I'm not trying to knock Donovan Ezaraku as when I say safe. I mean they went away from the risk taking in the second round.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of second round, speaking of Sam Williams, I want to start on the defense side of the ball. Guys, we're going to go over the position groups of every position group. And we'll talk offense on the next episode, but today we'll talk defense. And speaking of defensive end, I want to ask the panel, it's 3 questions, okay? Who do you like? Who do you have questions about? And like who needs to pick it up and your why. So it's 3, right? I want to get you guys and we can take our time with this one. Yeah. So who do you like? Who do you say is cool? Who is what would I say? Who do you have question marks about? There you go, Sky. And the questions could be how does Donovan Ezaraku look? What is he? How is he used? It could be any type of question. And then who needs to pick it up? And we'll do that for every position group, but since we started talking about Sam Williams a little bit and the defensive ends, let's start with the defensive ends. And I'll go first just to kind of set the floor and set the table. Number 1 for me, who do I like? I actually like Marshawn Nealon, and I liked him when he was drafted. I think that what Marshawn Nealon's strength is his strength. Like he's literally a strong player, right, Sky? And I think the safeness part to Sky's point is he can play the run. Like he's going to be able to play the run. He's going to be able to bang with tackles. You're not going to be able to put a tight end out there on him to lock him and do those types of things and kick him out. Who needs to pick it up? I'll be honest, Sam Williams. You've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And for me, my biggest question mark, guys, I want to see how is Dante Fowler used? Is he used as not that he can't play because he's gonna play, but just what's his usage like? Like what does it look like? Because you don't really use him on first and down. Is he a hired killer on third down? So that's just a question that I have for him. Not that he can play or not, but how is he used? Sky, I'll start with you.
Oh, man, I wish I had time to think about this. Some good questions. I like Micah Parsons, but that's cheating, so I ain't gonna say Micah Parsons.
No, you can go Micah. You can go Micah.
We're not gonna do that, man. We're not gonna do that. Who do I like? I like Dante Fowler because for a few years now, really was it a few years?
Yeah,
maybe just last year might have been. He was only gone for 1 year, right? He was here in 2023, right? Correct?
Yeah, he was here.
So last year, one thing that stood out to me is when Micah Parsons was gone, as well as DeMarcus Lawrence, but even when D-Law was there, you had no juice. And I constantly said that on my shows with you don't have anybody else outside of Micah Parsons that can provide that instant pass rush juice. Sam Williams was supposed to be that guy, but he got hurt. So by going out and getting Dante Fowler, he gives you more of that, as well as Donovan Izaraku. So if you listen to Eberflus, he talks about having, flooding teams with rotational guys. And not saying that Dante's a bad rotational player or anything, or to harm him by using that word, but getting more juice. I like that for the Cowboys, because when Mike is not there, it was a wrap, man. You saw it. There was just no athletes, like legitimate athletes out there. Question marks? I mean, it's hard to not say Sam. Or not question marks. Who do you say? Who pick it up? Who needs to pick it up is Sam. You've said a lot right there. Sam is a 1-year deal. He's 3 coaches now removed from his sponsors in the building. So he needs to obviously pick it up. And question marks, I'll just throw a curveball here. Peyton Turner.
That's a good one, Sky. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to do this.
1-year deal, failed first round pick, kind of a okay athlete. He can be a run guy. He didn't. Right. I don't like him. I didn't like his film. Let me say, as a pass rusher. So where the hell does he fit in this situation? Because Marshawn Kneeling can do a lot of the run things. He has a 2nd round pedigree here. So where does Peyton Turner show up at here?
That's a good. Hey, let me ask you a question, Sky.
Good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Do you think that Dallas is all in on this rotation? So with Peyton Turner, it's like they're saying in a rotation, he'll have a role. Him, Thomas, the whole 9, he'll have a role, Sky? Or is it they're depending on him to actually play a huge role, or he's just a role player, if that makes sense?
If I had to guess, he was just a guy that they signed just in case. They didn't draft a player at the position, and they drafted one really high. So one of those, if we lined up today in March 25th, we can go out and play. But once we get to the draft, if we take your replacement, up out of here. I think Peyton Turner is fighting an uphill battle. I don't think he makes the roster today, but he can go out there, kill it, and then obviously he's on the roster. So I don't think there's a plan for him to be a part of this thing. He has to go out there and take that.
Most certainly. Yeah. And they drafted him they picked him up based off of only potentials. 6'7", 245.
Yeah, he's got measurables.
Yeah, measurables only. Yeah.
What about you, Law?
Move. I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I like Sam Williams to this degree. He only had 600 snaps last year when he got hurt. I remember Mike Zimmer said he was going to count 70 to 75% of the defense there. So even with that, with 600 snaps, with 8 sacks within the confines of those 600 snaps.
That's true.
4 forced fumbles. That's something hard to come by. I just think that, and most of his penalties came when he was on special teams, for crying out loud. So if he get a chance and an opportunity to absolutely fight and win that starting role on the outside, then you're looking at Parsons, Sam Williams, rotations coming in is Dante Fowler. So the person that needs to step it up would be the rookie that we drafted in the 2nd round, believe it or not, because how he's going to get playing time behind Marshawn Kneeling, behind Fowler, behind Sam Williams. So there's a lot of guys in the group, and I get it right now. Donovan Izaraku is the fan favorite because he's the new person, right? And what was the other category?
Question marks.
Question mark. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that can fall into the step it up. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. Well,
hey, I want to ask you something.
Hard. Yeah, go ahead.
And this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because if y'all noticed, we haven't even got to John yet, and we literally got 3 different answers for this whole defensive end room. Like, we haven't talked about defensive end. I don't think the nation has, just the deployment, because Law just said something. Sam could start, or Sam could be in the doghouse. Like, they could go so many different ways. So that's interesting.
As you were saying that, I think is the most ideal thing would be for Sam to start. Like he'd be a perfect running mate with Micah, because he brings 6'4", 264, right, close to 270. But he does have that spring, that athleticism, that strength to be able to do some run things as well. Because do you really want Dante out there or Izaraku out there early downs with Micah? Those are smaller-ish guys. So you'd be even smaller. We talked about how small the Cowboys front is in general for the true rotational guys, not the what's my man from Auburn? The Denzel, those guys really aren't going to be a part of this. Well, he's the other cat, Justin Rogers, big dude, right? But do we really think Justin Rogers is going to be starting or being, you know what I mean? So if they have the small guys out there, Oppo of Micah, that's a tiny, edge room. So Sam, you should want Sam to start, even if he's not the long-term answer here.
Out of that NASCAR package, who you think they're going to kick inside? Or the end package. You think they're going to kick Marshawn Nealon inside, right?
Yeah.
He's the bigger, stronger guy.
Nealon would be that guy.
Yeah, it really, it all depends.
Nealon,
John.
Sam.
Yeah, Nealon and Sam. I was about to say, I would probably go Sam to be. See, I just want to see. I want to see what this good coaching, this good Aaron Whitecotton coaching, what it looks like. John, who's your like it, step up, and what I keep messing? I keep forgetting my own categories.
Question mark.
Oh, question mark.
Question mark.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, he ran up out of here. He said, like, I'm going to step on up out of here. but you're right, man. It's difficult with Fowler and Izaraku. Those are two difficult spots to be in because you really want Fowler to be out there. But then again, you want the rookie to be out there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the hardest part to really think about it.
See how professional. You see how professional law is when that happened. He just picked it right up there.
Bro, he's league standard. John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we got you.
It said my mic was out, so I had to restart something. So for me, my answers are pretty similar to everything that Sky said because my is definitely Dante Fowler. If I can't pick Micah, just because I think he's coming off of a big year with Washington, where I'm sure his confidence is about as high as it's ever been. He's familiar with a lot of the players on the team, and the opportunities are going to be there for him as long as Sam Williams isn't playing well. If Sam Williams is playing well, they're going to keep him on the field, and or healthy, And so my answer kind of ties in also when you guys bring up Peyton Turner, like while you say that he's added before the draft happens, and I think that's part of it. The other part of it is that you had 40 missed games between your defensive ends last year, between Micah, Sam Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Nealon. So they needed insurance at defensive end. I mean, obviously we're talking about in a perfect world that you're going to have all these guys, but there's a decent chance one of these guys at least gets hurt and you're without them. And now Peyton Turner's your 4, right now, if they're all healthy, I think he's clearly your 5th edge rusher. But yeah, Fowler, I feel the best about just because we've seen it on Sundays. Whereas with Sam Williams, you hear about how good he looks and you hear about all this upside and he shows you these flashes. And so you're like, oh, if he can put it all together, he can be a monster. Well, here's the thing. If he's not putting it all together, this is the final year of his rookie deal. There's no reason I have to we're like Nealon, you want to get him out there. He's part of your future, whatever. Sam Williams has to show you and really show himself and show the league that he's on an elite level. So for me, he's the biggest question mark is Sam Williams. But man, if he can put everything together and be the player that they hope he can be, then you're going to have a hard time keeping Sam Williams off the field. They expect him to be a significant game wrecker, And then I definitely think Nealon will be the first option to go kick to the inside if they need him to. Again, this is if everybody's healthy, but they're in a good spot at pass rusher for sure because regardless of what happens with Micah's contract, he'll be out there on Sundays and he'll be playing. And I imagine he'll still be one of the best defensive players in the league, regardless of a new contract or not. So what you have in him. It's about what else do you have? Who are the other guys? And to me, Dante Fowler is the best bet that you can count on what he's going to bring on Sunday.
A question maybe to pose to you guys that we haven't really brought up. D-Law's gone. We know he left with a sour taste in Cowboy fans' mouth with the whole, you're not winning the Super Bowl, the beef with Micah. But that aside, he was one of your most stabilizing run defenders. We are probably chasing that guy now, right? Like, who is that guy moving forward? And that's kind of a question you guys. I don't know yet.
It better be Nealon, Scott. Yeah, it better be. Like that's why I said like I'm trying to pump him into that position, Scott, because I know how important it is to stop the run. Now, to John's point, man, getting Dante Fowler, you literally stole the Commander's best pass rusher, right? But at the end of the day, on second down, when teams are trying to get downhill, who's going to step up and stop the run. Because that's on the edge. We've seen teams will run at Michael on the edge. We've seen that, right? Like, and so
you got to beat him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sky. It's like you have to punch at him. So that's a great question, Sky. And honestly, it does need to be Marshawn Nealon. We talk about that second round. Nealon needs to step up. And I think the crazy thing about Sam Williams is he's one of those players who has the frame and the twitch to be the edge guy and play the run. It's just he's never done it. Like we haven't seen him. Let me say not never, right? Because Law did give us some great notes. It's like he's so far out of mind, Sky, that you forget he has done something, but it's just not enough. So that's a great question, Sky. But I would say Nealon.
Yeah, and like you said, like I said with the Sam Williams, the Costco sample size is just not enough for us to really run home with. But when you think of even D-Law, right, when he was here, he averaged 3 sacks a season or 2.5. So those are really not big old shoes to fill. And I think that Marshawn Nealon, by him being younger and more springy, I think that he should be able to fill those shoes.
Well, not the pass rush part, the run stopping part.
The run stopper.
Yeah. D-Law as a run stopper, he morphed. It took some years to morph into one of the most elite guys. But I have this thing about young players coming out, even if they've defended the run well in college, there is a know-how in the pros. And I think you've seen that with Mazi Smith, adjusting. You see that with a lot of defensive tackles, adjusting to the league. There's a totally different know-how because of how they attack you in this league. And as much as we love, and again, I don't want to revert this back to the defensive tackle talk, but as much as we love the young rookie 7th round Jay Toia, if we think it takes time for Dexter Lawrence and Quentin Williams,
right?
What makes you think it's not going to take time for Jay Toia? Right. So I think with Marshawn Nealon, it's going to take that time of the know-how. So I think he can definitely fulfill a 2.5 sack, D-Law, but can he step in and fulfill how stabilizing he was as a run defender?
Right.
I don't know if right away. I don't even know if we have that guy right now. It may be one of those things where we're going to need a bunch of people to fill that part of his shoes, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So moving right along, that was a great conversation, guys. And that took us, like I said, it's so interesting. And this is why I want to do these breakdowns, because we all had different answers, and I think the answer is we need the competition to be great, and we need them all to step up and be good. It's a good problem to have, but I think John.
Well, and they're also starting with their strongest position group on defense.
Yes,
like it's not even debatable to me.
Oh,
like,
it's
that's their best strength is their pass rush. It's a good problem that if Peyton Turner's your 5th edge rusher, you'll gladly take that,
bro.
And with the Micah Parsons, we didn't even mention him. I know.
The best unit because he's in the room.
Hey, Foots, the biggest issue with the Cowboys in the last decade has been, we always talk about front seven, but the biggest one been linebacker health-wise, bro. It's just been like we can't overcome. I'm knocking on some wood now, but every time we get a good linebacker, the damn linebackers get hurt.
FBI.
Hey, and listen, we about to talk about him, Law. So let's get the you know what, Law? I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna start with you. We gonna push linebacker to the back for a second. Law, we about to have this defensive tackle conversation because this is gonna be the one. We'll do nose techs and 3 tech. All right. So nose tackle and 3 tech. So we got Mazi Smith, Oso Digizua, Jay Toia, Solomon Thomas, which is tweener-ish. Justin Rogers, Denzel Daxton, they have him listed as a nose, but I don't. Tommy A. and Ernest Brown. Law, talk to me. Who do you like? Justin Rogers. Who do you love? I mean, who needs to step it up? And who? What am I? Sky, you got to help me.
Question
mark. And
pick it up.
Needs to
pick it up.
Believe it or not, man, heavy is the crown. Yeah, heavy is the crown, and who needs to pick it up is Mazi. He's a first-round talented, drafted guy for the Cowboys, and if anybody needs to step it up, would be him. Who I really like out of this bunch is the J guy. However you say his last name, Sky. I think Toia.
It's
Toia. But his bursts get off, man. It's unique. I like those type of things out of him. And the biggest question mark would be probably one of the guys that was kind of like Denzel Daxton's or the Ernest guys. Solomon Thomas, I'm not going to talk about him. I'm just only pinning it to the 1 tech if I can go with that part of it, But 3 techs, I'm okay with it. But those are my 3 options there.
Sky?
I'm getting robbed, guys. We're getting robbed with Roblox over here. He drive by shoot me.
I'm going to cheat this time. I am going to state the obvious, man. I like Osa Odighizuwa. And it's because, and maybe I'm trying to emphasize that the engine of this defense, this Eberflus defense, is going to be the 3 tech. He talks about it. It's really important. So I could even say need to pick it up just for that alone. But I do think he's going to be a very productive 3 tech for this team. I mean, he has to be after getting the bag, right? And it's the first time they've paid a guy since, I want to say, Jay Ratliff. So I'm going to cheat here and say I like Osa. I think he's going to continue to improve. I think he showed that he has the longevity over the season. The first few years, it was okay. He starts out hot and he tails off. I think he had a pretty solid season throughout. Question marks? Or pick it up. I'm sorry. I do pick it up. And of course it's Mazi. It has to be Mazi. First round pick. They need kind of that stabilizing force at the nose tackle 1 tech next to Osa because he's light. He's 280. And then obviously you have Solomon Thomas, who's 290 or so, not 256 as the Cowboys have him listed. Either way, he's a undersized 3 tech. I don't think people understand that. That is an undersized 3 tech. Osa is an undersized 3 tech. And if you're going to have these light 3 techs in that manner, you got to have guys next to them. And ladies and gentlemen, Jay Tawia, 7th round rookie, like him a lot. Mazi Smith, inconsistent 1st round pick, and that's probably being nice, right? I'm not going to use the buzzword yet, but inconsistent. Other than Justin Rogers hasn't taken a snap in an NFL program. Tommy King Basote is actually another guy I like, rookie. Yep. They don't have a legitimate guy next to Osa out there right now. There's nothing but question marks. You can't deny that. So Mazi has to be the guy, y'all. If he doesn't step up, and by Camp John, you'll see it out there, I'd be looking to make a move, to make a swap somehow, some way for him and another guy to get in here, because I don't think if they trade for a guy, that's going to be good for Mazi's psyche. So I say just you package him and bring in someone that's more stabilizing.
Hey, real quick, Sky, I want to put a pin on something. Have you seen something from Mazi and he needs to be more consistent, or you just kind of...
I mean, you've seen a flash here and there. I mean, I'm not saying that he wasn't a little better last year, but nothing that should ever have you saying we don't have to touch the position. Like I don't think that's the case, man. If Mazi's rotating with another proven dude, I think maybe you can get by with that. But I don't personally want to depend on that right now. Could he go out there and by September we're like, man, Mazi's dominating? That'd be awesome. But I'm not living by the hope creed. I'm just going off of what I've seen, and what I've seen, I don't think he's a reliable guy 17 games right this moment.
Yeah, if Mazi can win by striking inside first, I've seen he win those battles, but his problems are his slow get off. Slow get off, and
I've seen him get moved.
Yeah, he get moved and walked up out of there.
Losing weight. Yeah. John, can you kind of tell what's up with that, man? What is he really? 310, 350, 330? What is he?
Still the dumbest thing.
I have no idea what his exact weight is, but I know that wasn't. The coaches didn't ask him to go down to whatever he went down to. I know that was like a story for a while there, but I think he was kind of in his head about, trying to get his game back. And so I think he lost some weight and wasn't able to get it back. He was trying to be faster and quicker and ththings like that. But it wasn't like the coaches said that he was too big. He needed to lose weight. I mean, it's pretty clear that they needed him for size. They needed him to be able to stop the run. So I don't know what his exact weight is right now. To be honest with you, if I'm picking this right now, I wouldn't even need to do this for just defensive tackles. He would be my pick needs to step up as number 1 player on the team. He needs to step.
Wow.
Like name a player. Like, who do you think needs to step up more than Mazi Smith on this team? Like, who do they absolutely need to step up more than? And I mean, realistically speaking, too.
No, pre Pickens, it probably would have been Tolbert, but now, I mean, it's definitely Mazi.
Yeah,
that's a great point. I mean, because if he does step up, you're talking about changing their defense.
Oh, maybe Tyler Guyton.
Oh, yeah, that's the other one.
Guyton. Carson's,
Carson's a good one. We're going to talk about the DBs.
And if it is Guyton, then I still would go with Mazi, because I've seen more flashes from Tyler Guyton in random practices against Micah Parsons than I've ever seen from Mazi Smith.
Yeah, well,
fair.
Okay, so John, go ahead and give us your do you like Osa as your and just your question mark players?
Yeah, Osa's the clear. I mean, that's why they gave him the money. That's why they re-signed him. I mean, he is clearly the one that I like the most. He's the one that will have the biggest impact as long as he's healthy. I think he takes another step this year. I think this defense will be good for him. So yeah, he's easy for that spot. And then, like I said, Mazi is the one that needs to step up the most. And then all the other ones, I mean, Solomon Thomas is kind of like a Dante Fowler. When he's been a veteran for so long, you know what you're going to get. And so I think he'll be a good player. I don't really expect him to like exceed what he's done already. I think he'll be really good and solid. And I think that's good for what you need. And I think he's a good team guy, good behind the scenes, good leadership guy. So all of that's great. I mean, he's going to come in and do what you're paying him to do. And I think that's a good thing. He's with White Cotton, who he's had his best years playing for him. So I think, yeah, the 3 technique, I'm not worried about that at all, but they need someone to step up at the 1, or they need to go out and make a move like they've done in the past. And I could see that being a real possibility, unless Mazi takes a big jump, you need another veteran presence guy over there at the 1 technique that you can count on. And they just don't have that right now. And they probably don't on purpose, because they know they can get that guy in July or August, and they want to give Mazi every chance to try and win the job and show that he can be this guy and do it. But
I don't like that.
I just remember these things with Taco and Tristan Hill. So we'll see if it happens.
Hey, one of the things, John, you brought up a great point, and Scott highlighted a real excellent point about Osa fizzling out towards the end, because we've seen where he accumulated most of his production skill sets in September and all of that stuff. So in October. So you're right, Scott. What if John, Scott, and Foots, what if Solomon Thomas was brought in just for that? Like down the stretch when we had those 3 games in 11 days, now you can rotate him in at that 3 tech spot.
No, that's a fantastic point, because even very similar to Micah, right? If Osa wasn't out there, who the hell was giving you pass rush from the middle of the line? Nobody. Unless they put Micah Parsons over there.
Unless they put Micah over the center. Yeah, you're right.
So and one thing about, I don't think Solomon Thomas is a good run defender at all. He's a great hustle player. Like he can chase down things from behind. White Cotton really got the best out of him from that standpoint. But rushing the passer, getting after it, that's really where he's going to shine under, I think, White Cotton and Eberflus. So you're right. I think he's going to actually help Osa in the sense of, hey, Osa doesn't have to play 80% of the snaps down the stretch. He can hover around the 68, 70%, and he can be fresher and hopefully have more impact, throughout these next couple, or at least 2 years. Oh, Solomon Thomas got a 2-year deal. So over the next few years. So yeah, that's a great point.
I wanted to add to something about Mazi, right? I think one of the mistakes made was he was drafted to a coach that, and this is going to tie into something that John has said over and over again how he feels about Matt Eberflus. He was drafted to a coach that, I won't say that Dan Quinn didn't care about the run, but he was very consistent that he wanted guys playing upfield. Right. And that's who, and I just think that was, and it's crazy how stuff like that can happen in the draft, where it's like, you would think that all this stuff and, all these scouts and the common sense part of it would be, somebody would say, hey man, this guy played at the line of scrimmage at Michigan. Why are we asking this guy to get upfield? And I don't know if that's what they asked him, but to me, that's what it felt like. And I just feel like that mixed with how slow he got off the ball, mixed with like he wasn't coached. He wasn't coached properly. I feel like that's not an excuse, because it goes to the player. Go ahead, Sky.
No, I'm saying I'm just ad-libbing. That's a hell of a point.
You get what I'm saying? And so
2 gapping versus 1 gapping is a whole different thing.
It's a whole different thing. And so, like, to me, Sky, John has said a bunch of times he believes that Matt Eberflus will stop the run. It's some of this stuff, guys, coaching points. Is some of it Mazi can't play. Is some of it is stress level, because he's one of the strangest, I think, case studies for me, because on film at Michigan, he did the things that we need him to do. In the league, it just hasn't hit for whatever reason, strength, mindset, and it's just like, dang, like that was one where I think the Cowboys had the right mindset, but the coaches or the philosophy screwed the guy, or maybe he's just not bought it. I don't know.
I think there's two things there. I do think that he did have flaws on film coming out. I thought some of those things were going to be coached out of him, though, right? Like he gets out of his stance high. He doesn't maintain that leverage. He gets up, and that's why he's able to get put. He shouldn't be playing on 1 foot as much as he does for somebody 6'4" or whatever, 6'3", 330. You're supposed to be. technique, his mechanics are off. They're awful. Feet, everything's bad. That should be able to be coached out. It wasn't. His get off, I thought that might have been a bit better. It wasn't. So it was interesting to see that. But there is the mental aspect of it. And that's something as when we watch and we're studying these guys coming out, we don't know how much they love the game. When adversity strikes, how will that affect them? John kind of hinted at it, and I'll hint at it as well. That absolutely affected his mental, and that mental affected him physically, okay? And that affected him on the field. So I do question, no disrespect to people that go through it mentally, does he have the mental fortitude when things go awry that he can continue and overcome it and be worth what he was picked at as a first-round pick, ladies and gentlemen? Think about this. People are like, hey, man, if Mazi could just be all right. If he could just be, no, he was a first. He needs to be a beast. If he's not, we have to find a solution. That's just the facts of the matter, man. Yes, they take time, but you'd be lying if you said you didn't see Quentin Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, and Dexter Lawrence all show not just flashes from time to time, but consistent tape that, okay, these young bulls is like that. Once they learn the know-how of the league, they're going to be beasts.
T'Vondre
Sweat, you lying if you say you saw that from Mazi. You haven't seen that.
Yeah. I think you're right, Scott. I think it's just that is always going to be one that if it doesn't work, I just will really want to know what really happened with that one. Like with Kelvin Joseph, I kind of knew the day he was drafted that anybody working on their album, this ain't gonna work, bro. Like this. So, and speaking of hey, you know what? Let's hit a few housekeeping notes, guys. Okay. Make sure that you guys, wherever you're listening to this at, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes. Just leave us a 5-star rating. We will love that. That helps the algorithm. I listened back to our last show today, just kind of prepping for this, and it's growing, man. We got almost 500 people up in here talking about the roster. It's really cool. And then all your betting needs, make sure you guys tap in with BetUS. BetUS has all of your betting needs. They didn't send me a read today, so I'm off the hook. Here we go. Let's talk about the safety room. This one is interesting. Let's start all the way from the back. We'll start Mike Smith Jr., Zion Childress, Elijah Clark, Wanye Thomas, Marquise Bell, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker. And for the sake of time, actually, you know what? We can take our time. It's Memorial Day. I don't know if you guys got anywhere to go because I want to get through all of these position groups, and there's a reason why. But safety, I'll start. Who do I like? This one may surprise you guys. I really like Malik Hooker. I think that Malik Hooker kind of gets a raw deal at times where it's like people are like, listen, Malik Hooker is right now, he's the steady Eddie for me, right? Until somebody takes his job, I'm okay. Like somebody has to take that job, right? Who do I want to play better? Who needs to step it up? And the question mark, maybe, listen, Donovan Wilson, I love you. I really do. But I'm interested to see what this looks like in Matt Eberflus' scheme. Right. And my question mark is going to be Wanye Thomas. Like, can Wanye Thomas, can it now be okay, you're the training camp favorite, you're the preseason camp favorite too. Can you get live reps and hold your own? Because I think we do this thing where it's like, man, yeah, these guys are ready, but it's like, why didn't Zimmer put him on the field? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Because like, why couldn't he beat out some of these people that everybody wants to throw away? I don't know. I do not know. And I'm safety guy. I'm the roof and all that. So I want Wanye to play. I just don't know why he's not. So that's going to be one that I'm looking at. Is like, okay, is Wanye Thomas now ready to take a starting role? If somebody gets hurt, or does it go somewhere else? Sky, I'll start back with you. Actually, I haven't started with John, so let's start with John on this one.
Yeah, I'm quick on this. There's no real high hopes. I think if they're just a solid group, it's fine. There's nothing that I expect that we go out there and all of a sudden we see Donovan Wilson plays way better than he ever has. I don't expect to see that from any of the safeties. I think that they're all solid. I think you could see some more. McQuamu's listed as a safety. I think you'd see him playing a little bit more nickel on the inside. And so I think he makes the team as kind of a hybrid of both. And then I think it'd be great in terms of stepping up if one of these undrafted guys like Clark steps up. The kid from Syracuse, I think that's his name, Elijah Clark, isn't it? Or am I wrong? Yeah, Elijah Clark.
No, you got it right.
If you could step up one of those guys, then yeah, that'd be great. But I just find it hard to believe that any of them are going to beat out that core four that they've had at safety. Right. And that's going to be Wanye, Marquise Bell, Dono, and what's it called? Yeah, Malik Hooker.
You forgot about my guy already, John? That's crazy.
I mean, it's fine.
Forgettable.
Yeah, very.
I know, right?
I mean,
like Earl Thomas, but
you know, their investments at safety are like what their offseason investments would have been. Like if they don't re-sign Osa, their safety position is basically like going into the season. Well, Solomon Thomas is going to be your starting 3-tech,
right? And
then you got Mazi, and then you got Jay Toya, and then they're going to sign another veteran. Like, yeah, there's guys that are going to be out there, but I don't think anybody's like, oh yeah, this is. And again, I know people be, oh, it's the Lions. The Lions safeties are filthy. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lions have a problem where that, like, how can you pay 2 safeties? You know what I'm saying? Right. Like the Cowboys don't have that. The Cowboys have, they're solid there, but it's like kind of one of those, like, almost like with like Dak, like, you've seen so much. Is there really going to be a season where you're just like, where did that come from? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're good, solid players. You know, I'm talking about the safeties. I think
Rich Gannon won MVP at like 40. So
come on with
that.
I said Rich Gannon won MVP at like 40. You never know.
Yeah. Now, no, and that's possible. And obviously, I think Dak's played quarterback at a higher level than any of the safeties that played the safety position. Don't get it twisted. But I'm saying, like, at certain points, you've seen so much from players that are just like, is it really going to be that much different, even with a scheme change? It's not like it's been the same exact coaches every year. I mean, the defense has constantly gone through scheme changes, and you see Wanye and you see Marquise Bell, and these guys make plays to a level where, like, okay, I can see why he's on the team. But at the same time, you're not like, oh yeah, like I can see one of these guys being in the Pro Bowl one day. I think the thing that helps Bell and Thomas the most is that they're a big help on special teams too. So that's why I don't have just one of these undrafted guys jumping them, because it's more than just the playing safety and being depth. You know, it's about like what else do they bring in the other areas they can contribute to on Sunday. So I mean, I think it's fine, but the Cowboys have showed their cards. They've shown what their investments are going to be at safety. So I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah, it just got to improve a little bit on certain things. You know, I think Donovan Wilson last year, he just pretty much everywhere. Passer rating when targeted was 141. That's uncalled for. He had 14 missed tackles. So
that's one that's scary. Those missed tackles.
Those missed tackles, and he had 4 or 5 sacks last season. So when I look at Dono, I look at him like, okay, when Kurtz left, he was the guy that was inside as the big nickel, or the guy that played down inside, and that's where he plays the best. But somehow before that time frame, he was really covering really well. But now he don't cover good anymore. I would like for Malik Hooker to still be here, but I want Wanye Thomas to get a little bit more shine. I think that he's been here for 4 years now. I think that it's time for him to get a little bit more playing time under his feet, and let's see what the hell Bell can do. You know, that's what I want to see.
You asked about, you know, why you didn't see Wanye, and Wanye I think is a product of unfortunate situations. Okay. So you got to understand there was a shift in the entire schematics of things when Mike Zimmer took over from Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn ran the damn nickel, 3 safeties, 80% or whatever it was, something crazy. Number 1 in the league by far. So right when Jaron Curse started showing his ass of how bad he was in that big nickel, right when he ushered out and that third spot was ready to go, Mike Zimmer comes in. And Foots, we did the show. This doesn't shock me. Why he not playing doesn't shock me, because Mike Zimmer does not play 3 safeties, ladies and gentlemen. He plays 2 safeties 99% of the time. So it's always going to be Dono. It was always going to be Malik, because 2 things were going in their favor. One, they're their guys because they paid them. Okay, they got the contracts, they got the extensions. 2, Mike Zimmer didn't have enough juice because he was on a 1-year deal to make a change. I do think he might have looked at that room and said, I would love to see what Bell and those boys can do. So I think, you know, Bell, you could throw Bell in this too. Bell and Wanye were just a product of an unfortunate situation, because if you kept, say, what's my man's name that followed Dan Quinn over there? Joe Witt. You kept Joe Witt, he kept the big nickel situation. One of those guys would have played a lot more than they did last year. So who do I like? I like Wanye, and I'm going to just combine them into one. Wanye and Bell. I've been saying this for 2 years.
Wanye Bell.
Break the damn pool stick, throw it in that safety room, and may the best player win. Because I don't think either of those players are so far better or so far worse than each other. I don't get this just because you paid Dono and you paid Malik that they're automatically the guys. They have not proven the last 2 years that they are needle movers at the position. So if they're not needle movers at the position and you got two young, hungry, athletic dudes, let them fight for that. Because I do think there's something between Bell and Wanye. I think Wanye is extremely versatile, maybe your most versatile safety in that room. He can play down in the box. He could go play slot. We saw him playing slot the other day at practice. He can play free. He can do a lot of different things. I would love to see him get a shot. Pick it up. Obviously, it's Dono. Dono disappointed me last year, but I shouldn't be because you talked about how he wasn't as good cover guy. Well, that's because he came in as cover guy. He was pretty not cover guy, but pretty decent.
He was a good athlete. He was a good athlete. Yeah.
Get down there. Get down there and play around a line of scrimmage for 3 years. Oh, did Mike Zimmer said, get back there.
Get back up there.
That's funny, Scott.
So, he got to pick it up. And question mark will be Bell coming off the injury and the extension. Will he get more than just special teams reps? Will, after paying him 3-year deal, will they give him an opportunity to start? That's my question.
That's a good one, Scott. No. This is you actually did, because I think me and John were kind of on the same team. It's like it's kind of chalk, but I like what you're saying. Like, I'm not mad at. See, I look at it like this, guy. Bell and Wanye are good enough to play. I just want to see him play. Like, they're literally. I don't have nothing bad to say about them because I haven't seen it. You saw Bell play linebacker. He's not a linebacker. Right. Like, you haven't seen him. I want to see him play safety. I want to see him come off the hash. I want to see him play on the roof. I want to see him break up a play. I want to see him take a pick out of the air.
We want to see it in regular season.
Right.
Yeah. And so, and like with McQuamu, I'll bring him up and we'll go to these corners because this is the most interesting group to me. I don't say it's bad. I don't say it's good. I just think it's an interesting group. And John's been on record one the corner. I think me and Sky had some back and forth off the record. So let's talk about it right now. Andrew Booth, Josh Butler, Kalen Carson, Deron Bland, Israel McQuamu, Keemon Hall, Troy Pride, Bruce Harmon. Okay. Then we still have Trevon Diggs, question mark. Savon Ravel, question mark. Kyrie Elam, question mark. Like, you can go, and then obviously CJ Goodwin, special teams, and then Barku. Yeah, so, but here's the deal. For me, I'll be quick on this because I know this is going to be a polarizing one. I really like Bland, and I don't want to move Bland inside. I've heard so many people say, and I've kind of been quiet on that, but I just don't want to move Bland inside just to say, hey, let's just move Bland to the nickel. He can get beat, but Bland is a darn good cornerback, 2-1, however you want to look at it, but he's a good freaking corner. Like, he is. Yeah. We need to find another solid outside corner. You want it to be Diggs. Like, we wouldn't be having this Jalen Ramsey conversation, which, I would love to have Ramsey, but if Diggs is healthy and he's done what he's supposed to do, you're not talking about Jalen Ramsey. I don't think you are. But the fact that it's up in the air, so I would say pick it up. I'm gonna be honest. Trevon Diggs needs to pick it up. Like, Trevon Diggs, when the picks went away, the play has not been the same. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It hasn't been. Trevon Diggs has not played to what he got paid for. And that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but he hasn't been the same.
Injury plague, yeah.
And my question mark, or I can tell Sky got some thoughts, so I'll go right to him. My question mark will be Israel McQuamu. Israel McQuamu had a game versus San Francisco in that playoff game where I just said, wow, he can play football. And you never saw it again. And so, and maybe in spot time, you guys check me, but I think for me, if Izzy can be something, now you're cooking with grease. If Savon Ravel can be something, you could add him as a question mark. So that's mine. How you feeling, Sky?
The room is a giant question mark. you gotta.
I got you, Sky.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns.
That's that's my joint right there.
Yeah, that's what it is, Sky, but keep going.
It is, man. If healthy, we talked about this last week. If healthy, I actually love the room. Well, I love the top of the room in regards to Diggs, Bland. I'm not as out on Diggs as many when it comes to on the field. I don't think he was some egregious player. Yes, his picks went down, but if you go look at 23, was 21 where he had the most picks? So you look at 22. 22, Diggs was a fine corner. He was a fine corner. Got injured in 23, came back in 24, and he still was. You go look at that defense, you're not talking about, man, Diggs is playing bad or Diggs is the issue over here. I don't think that's the case at all. So the issue with Diggs is the injury and the mental, right? Because we know, we've heard everything.
And the rehab, the lack thereof.
That's the mental I'm talking about. That's the mental, Foots. Like, I was just getting to it. We know the issue in regards to the rehab, the want to, the not reporting, you know, these are legitimate things. This isn't just rumors. He was an issue in regards to that. Verbatim, from what I heard, was one of the worst people in regards to rehab that the Cowboys ever had. So can he gotta mature in that way? And then does he bounce back from his injury? If he's healthy, I don't question Trayvon Diggs. I think he's one of the better corners if he's healthy. Deron Bland, one of the better corners if he's healthy. Savon Ravel, you said you don't want to knock Bland inside. My follow-up would be, well, what if it's best for the team, right? What if you don't go get a Mike Hilton who you want? What if you don't go get a Jalen Ramsey who you want? I think what's best for the team would be to put him in the slot. And I'll leave it at that. The rest of the guys, I mean, Kyrie Elam, we had the discussion. Izzy's probably going to play the slot to start off, but the question would be back to you. If that's best for the team, would you be against that?
I definitely think that Bland can do it, but my hope would be, my hope would be Savon Ravel and Bland play on the edge, and you figure the nickel out. But I know you've been big on that nickel position. It's just not an easy position. So I hear you there. I want to push back on something though, Sky. I find it very interesting that Diggs is now doing a documentary about
he being petty.
John. Remember when I said this when the show first started? I said, bro, he's telling on himself a lot. Now, cool, document it all. I just want you, bro, come back locked in. Like, now I'm talking to you because I had a conversation with Zach Wolchuk, and it's like, bro, he was right. Like, bro, honor playing for the Cowboys. Like, take it serious. If you're not gonna take rehab serious and you're not gonna and you got paid, this is why fans feel away. This is why the front office may feel away. And it's not making it them tick versus tap, but it's like, come on, bro. Like, you got paid and you gave us your ass to kiss. And that's how I feel. So it's just like, at the end of the day, he may not have been a bad player, Scott, but when you hear these reports coming out and then you do the stuff after the game with the reporter, it's just no need for that, bro. Just be better. You had a bad game. He asked you a question. Be better. That's it. So I've been passionate about that, John. You know, I've been passionate about that since we first started the show, because if you aren't going to take it serious, then I need to replace you. Like Will McClay says, I need to replace you. And that's why they drafted Savon Ravel. If you're not going to take it serious, we're going to bring somebody in here who will. That's what I feel. So I didn't mean to go off on a rant. But as far as when it comes to Bland, Sky, I'm not married to him not moving inside. I'm just like, he's so good on the edge that I think it's easier to find a nickel, but it may not be.
I think nickel might. I don't know, man. Nickel's tough. You ain't lying. Nickel's hard, and Deron Bland is showing he could do it. And I think he fits Eberflus' scheme in there if he were to go inside.
Yeah. Law.
All right. Well, when we started talking about this, far as the outside corners, I like Bland on the outside, and I know for sure that his people are banging the table for him to stay on the outside too, because there's other things that comes with playing on the outside.
Let me jump in on that one real quick, because I always see his conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Like, my favorite one was the Micah one, you know, like, don't play too much linebacker or whatever. Yeah. If you're sacking the quarterback, you're going to get paid like, I don't know, like the highest paid non-quarterback that's ever played the game. This man caught the ball 5 times and ran him back for touchdowns. I don't care if you put him back to safety. You're not going to nickel and dime somebody that has the resume he does. So the idea that, like, if he's on the outside, then he's going to get the big money from somebody regardless. Like, if the Cowboys want to try and be cheap with him and be like, well, you're a nickel here, then you just go to and be like, thank you for your time. I'm going to go get paid, and I'm going to put myself out there, and I will get paid to the highest bidder. But there is nothing that he has done up to this point where he is going to get treated like, well, you're just kind of a nickel one-trick pony. We can't really pay you like a shutdown. No, he's already put it out on the resume. You're not going to all of a sudden start paying him like a kicker because you're a nickel now. If anything, the nickel position is so much more important now in football than ever before.
Yes.
To me, this might be taken a little too far, and maybe I'll have to walk this back. But I'm almost teetering on the point of, like, if I would rather have the best nickel corner than I probably shouldn't go as far. I was going to say linebacker. I probably still would have, but like linebacker is so getting run out of the game to me. Now
True.
the game can
Linebacker
change and it might come back, and I might be caught on the back end of it when it comes back. But like, there's just positions that I just don't care about as much as I used to because the game's changed. Right. And nickel corner is not what nickel corner was 10 years ago. It is an important position. Like you're going to have at least a good nickel. You'd love to have a great one, but you have to have at least a good nickel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that, John. John, you came in with some heat.
Yeah, no, I wish. I think nickel is definitely more valuable, I think, than linebacker at this moment.
Yeah, because you can squeeze the wide receiver in there and get two-way goals, and you got wide receivers now. The world's like a CD Lamb. They got the ability to play on the outside and the inside. So yeah, you would like to have a DB that can trail and cover, and they got good recovery speed. Yeah.
And they have to do multiple things. I get linebackers have to cover too, but they ain't covering receivers.
Right.
They're not covering Cooper Kupps of the world are going inside. You know, the Chris Godwins of the world are going inside, right? And they also have to be guys that fit in the run game. Oh, and they're also responsible. Shouts out to 2i. We were talking about this with Jordan Lewis, who explained this. They're also responsible for the communication between the front end and the back end. And Deron Blanche, selfish plug here, had him on a show a few years ago, and I asked him how difficult it is to play on the inside. And he flat out said it's harder than playing on the edge because of the two-way goals, because of what you have to do in the run game, because of the communication. You are kind of that, you may not be green dot, but you're like that second green dot because you have to be able to relay all this information in seconds. And still do your job, not knowing where the hell this guy's going to go. When you're on the boundary, he talked about how that boundary is an extra defender. So you can lean, you can push a little bit, and if he steps out of bounds, you're good to go. So man, nickel is very valuable, and I don't think you're out of bounds at all, John.
No, John, you're right on it. And hopefully, Kair can really do something for us to alleviate that. So Bland, Kair, and who's the other person? I heard Josh Butler. He may be coming back with full strength, and if these three guys can be solid pieces, then we okay. But the only problem is week one, you don't want to get embarrassed with AJ Brown and Smitty. So you got to make sure that DB rooms is the only room where the DBs got to have confidence. And if you don't have confidence, man, you looking up 30, 40 bombs down the field. And it could be very, very crazy for us.
I think that'll be the position that if it looks crazy in camp, they'll make a move. So John, I think everybody said that.
It's going to look crazy in camp.
Yeah.
Why is it gonna look crazy, John?
Yeah,
because you guarded CeeDee Lamb.
Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are gonna eat.
They're gonna eat.
We forget Pickens and Lamb's out, and Lamb is out.
Right.
It's taking me a while. It's taking me a while, Scott. It's taking me a while.
Diggs is not going to be out there early. Savon Ravel's probably not going to be out there. Day one, just everything is good to go. I just tore my knee last September, and there's no growing pains. Now there's going to be growing pains, and then Kair Elam and the rest of the band. Yeah, man, they're going to get baptized, but it should help them, hopefully.
By fire, baptized by
fire. Now, just by
sure.
looking at stats alone, Foot, Sky, and John, I was looking at this for the last 3 years. Gilmore and Ramsey stats are very much so the same at that DB spot. I think Gilmore, it won't cost you $24 million.
No, go get him now.
Go get him now. Yeah.
You think they're the same? Do you think they're similar players?
I don't think gonna say that, but the stats say.
Ramsey's more versatile.
Don't do me like that, John. That ain't the same.
Are you looking at stats on ESPN, or because I look at stats on Over the Cap? So
okay.
Well, that's what the law's point. It's not going to cost you $26 million and 36 next year.
You know what makes Ramsey so good? I'm serious about this. The most physical corner. Dog, bruh, Sky, me and Sky be so locked in. Like, if you really a ball watcher, bro, Ramsey will come downhill and destroy you. He doesn't care if you're a running back. Yeah. And I have thoughts about this. I've heard people, I don't know where y'all are, but I've heard people say, just put him at safety. See, I think he could do it, but I don't like safety again is his own position. People talk about that with Byron Jones. And bro, he's a corner, and let him play corner. Let him do what he does. But go ahead, Sky.
No. Don't rule it out. Okay, because we've seen the transition happen.
You gotta be a guy. You gotta be Charles Woodson type.
Slow down. Let me cook a little bit right here. Let me cook a little bit. Charles Woodson is the guy I was about to refer to, and I'm not saying Jalen Ramsey is Heisman Hall of Famer. However, He's a dude.
You don't think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think he is a Hall of Famer.
Well, I'm just actually.
I don't think he's that far off from Woodson. I'm being serious with you.
Wow. Okay.
He was a safety. He was a safety in college.
There you go. Take it away.
Him and Derwin.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm trying to get the foots here. When you don't rule that out, because there are a few that can do it. Charles Woodson was one. Again, he may not have been a Heisman guy. He may not be. Maybe after he retires, you think about Hall of Fame, but no one's really thinking that right now. With Charles Woodson, at a point in time, you knew Hall of Fame, right? But why can't Ramsey do? I think Ramsey actually should convert at some point to elongate his career, and I think he could do it very well.
At some point, yeah. I think, okay, I was thinking more for this team. I like him at corner.
I'll take him on my team. Figure it out when he get here.
But
they're not going to do that.
In the words of our guy Voch Lombardi, he was in the chat earlier. He's the better dude, right? Scott,
he's the dude. Yeah,
he's the better dude. He's the better dude.
Bro, let's keep it a beam, man.
Yeah.
He steps in the DB room right now, and he's looking at Bland like, I'm the captain now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And you might say Bland's better. You can have that debate all you want. But Ramsey steps in as alpha male, and Bland's gonna have to prove, nah, man, this is my squad. And then when Diggs come back, well, all right.
Ramsey is one of the more just energy pieces in the NFL, as far as popping his pop, getting up, talking to the sideline. Like he has that.
The defense
for sure.
He will be
with the mentality.
What we need week 1.
But you need him throughout the whole year. I feel like. I mean, bro,
for the whole year. But week 1, you want to be able to at least show something.
Facts. Like you don't want to run Kalen Carson out there versus AJ Brown.
Booth.
Yeah. Nah.
Speaking of which, is that the pick it up guy? Kalen.
All 4 of us, the pick it up guys. Carson.
We can lump that into, because you know what, we've tried to put 3 people in the slot, but I think, Sky, you said it. Is he better inside, or was that too high? Somebody has been.
I thought that his home was the slot when he came out, but then the Deron Bland injury happened. But they weren't even playing him in there anyway. But
yes, that's interesting, guys. We'll go for 5 more minutes because this has been a banger. We got almost 600. Well, we got 5:30 on a Monday, Memorial Day, guys. Seriously, we love y'all so much on the Cowboys Collective, man. It's growing. Is everybody good? I don't want to step on any toes. Machota, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's hit linebacker, and we won't get so long-winded. So I'll go first. Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, Damone Clark, Darius Harris, Buddy Johnson, Shamar James, who had an interception last week, Maris Luafau, DeMarvion Overshown. And no, Micah Parsons is not playing linebacker. Don't ask. He's a defensive end. Okay. I like it. Love Maris Luafau. His issues are he plays a little too fast at times. He'll overrun plays, but he has great instincts. He had the forced fumble, the peanut punch. I think that everybody's talked about, Kenneth Murray benefiting from Matt Eberflus. I think it's going to be Maris Luafau. My question mark is actually Kenneth Murray, because can he get coached up by Matt Eberflus and be that blitzer, that play downhill guy until DeMarvion Overshown gets back? We just don't know. And we won't know till they're playing live football games and we see how they are deployed. And my need to pick it up, if I'm being honest, we all kind of would know. I feel like it would be Damone Clark. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't even know if he's in the plans.
Is he a bubble guy?
Yeah, I don't even know if he's going to make the team. Yeah, I don't.
Hope
so
it's
probably not right now. There's not enough bodies in there.
Yeah, so I won't even go pick it up for him. I'll just do 2 question marks. I did Kenneth Murray and then Jack Sanborn. Like, is Jack Sanborn more than a try-hard player, or with this team, can he be like a dollar store Sean Lee? Yeah, can he be a Zach Bond? Absolutely, Sky.
I would love for him to be Zach Bond.
John Machota?
I feel great about Leofau. I think you take another step in year 2. Him and Overshown are the future, so I have no questions about those 2. My question is about whoever is going to be the other one. All I need is 2 good linebackers. Give me 2 good linebackers, I can figure everything else out. And they've had many chances where they've lined up to have 2 good linebackers for the last 15 years, and there's always been injuries, so it doesn't happen. So give me 2 good linebackers. You give me, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. I don't really care about the other. You'll get me some other guys on the roster to fill out the other spots. Give me 2 dogs, and then everything else will take care of itself. But they got to be healthy. So I feel good about. I think Leofau and Overshown are those guys if they can stay healthy. So I'm good there. The question marks are, can another one of these linebackers step up? Could it be Sanborn? Could it be Murray? That's probably your most likely. But I guess Shamar James, he could come out and have a good camp or something. Or maybe Damone Clark find something that he works with Eberflus. I mean, this is going to be a position that Eberflus is going to obviously work closely with. That's his background as linebacker. Yep. So maybe one of these guys fits in that we didn't see as much from in the previous regime. So they're all question marks to me outside of Leofau. I think Leofau just is going to get better.
Well, I'm going to take a different view with this one, John, because I like Leofau, but he actually is my question mark. And here's why. It's not his talent, because I really love what I think the potential he can be. But you do have a linebacker background defensive coordinator who historically has got the best out of these guys. Came in, brought in his guy from Chicago. They traded for a starter in Kenneth Murray. They not just drafted, but traded up to draft Shamar James. They brought in 3 linebackers, right? Now, granted, you need bodies anyway at that position because of DeMarvion Overshown's hurt. Do you believe in Damone Clark? However, the sponsor that brought him in that said he was a brilliant player, right? That was the word used, is no longer in the building. So my question would be, just how much does Eberflus and is it Dave Borzinga, or I can't pronounce his last name, the linebackers coach now.
Borgonzi.
Yeah.
It's like a food truck.
How much do they like Leofau? Now, Leofau may win him over. I don't think it's going to take much. I think the dude plays hard. He gets downhill. He hits. He brings the boom. I do agree with you. It should be Leofau and Demo, but I don't think they bring in 3 linebackers for no reason. So I do think he's going to have to go out there and earn it.
My reason, let me jump in on this real quick. My reason is DeMarvion Overshown.
Yeah.
And it's not DeMarvion Overshown, the player. It's DeMarvion Overshown can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's what I had a question for the whole panel.
These are not now. DeMarvion Overshown is a freak athlete.
I had a question for y'all.
Better than anybody that's ever come back from it. But there is legitimate concerns there. This is 2 years in a row now. That
it's 2 years.
Injuries that
he's out of that number now. Get out of that 13.
That might be a good thing. But that's the reason why you load up at linebackers, because when does he come back? And when he comes back, how effective is he right away? This might be one of those injuries where it takes him a little bit of time to get back to the player that he was. So I thought of those moves being more of that.
Yeah, I'll be quick. My is Sanborn. I told you guys last week. I think Sanborn has potential to be your start middle linebacker. However, they do have Murray, who's on a $7 million contract. Pick it up as Damone Clark. That's simple there. So that's my guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Those are three good choices there, Sky. But when I look at the 3 that I have here, of course, we can talk about Kenneth Murray and Sanborn. Those are the 2 veteran guys that they brought into the mix. But I'm leaning on. I know it's kind of crass for me to say step it up for Overshown, but when he gets back, I want him to step it up. I absolutely like Leofau, and the other person would be, of course, Shamar James. I think that all 3 of these guys would be the future, right? And if they all 3 can go over Jason Witten's house and extract his blood and see how he stayed healthy for all of those years, it will be monumental. Because if these guys had Jason Witten health, man, this would be a phenomenal team at the linebacker spot.
I got a quick question for the panel. And it's going to piggyback off John Machota, and shout out to 500 people. Make sure you guys spank the likes. Make sure that you guys listen on every podcast. It's been a phenomenal show. Got a lot of information. Got a lot of takes out.
Good topic.
Thank you, sir. And I you know what? I had to pick it up because I kept forgetting, Sky. Sky, Law, and John. Is DeMarvion Overshown too small? And I say this saying this, right? He said him and Clarence Hill had some back and forth, right? But his frame, right? Mm-hmm. Like, does that just I just want to know. Like, I'm not fighting nobody. Like, do y'all have any thoughts on that? Because in the trash, in the wash, just being, literally his body.
Break down his injuries, though. What kind of injuries?
That's the thing. It's so weird with him because the injuries weren't because he was getting bodied. He got rolled up on, and then the one in Seattle in the preseason game, I think, was just a step wrong. So it's weird, but I do think his frame he's a linear player. He's very he's tall and he's thin. Even if he says, I'm 230, 235 now, sure, but you 6'4", what have you, you're very, I think he's roughly 6'4", whatever it is. he is a linear player. He's more basketball than he is football from a frame size. So it's fair to question it. But when he's playing, he don't care about his frame. He plays with his hair on fire. He's so damn good. So it's not the frame that's my worry. It's just that he keeps getting injured. Whether it's freak or not, you have to put him as a injury-prone player, period.
2 years, 2 season endings.
That's what it is.
It says right here, him and Roquan. All right, Fred Warner, Roquan, Devin White are all the same size.
But they're built. I think it's proportion different.
Oh,
yeah,
you talking about?
it
Oh, you
looks
talking about the build? Okay, now I get it.
like
Lord, I don't think, man. Y'all think he's 240? That guy is every bit of 230, man.
No, they said 229. It said 229.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, he's not 240, but even 230 is kind of normal now, right?
Yeah.
230 between 225.
Yep.
But Fred Warner, what, 6'2"? 6'3", and there's a different mass to him than it is with Overshown.
Yes.
Overshown's just very linear.
Roquan is 6'1", 232.
But so that's 6'1", him being shorter, he's thicker.
He's outer.
Yeah.
I
John?
think he fits for today's NFL, really. You got to be able to move at that linebacker spot. I mean, these tight ends are just getting more and more athletic, and obviously in the run game, everything you have to do today in space, I think he's a good size for that. I don't think that's led to his injuries either. So I think I think he's fine. I know he's moved positions obviously in college and things like that, but I think he's a good fit. I think we wouldn't even ask a question about him if it wasn't for the knee injuries.
Facts.
Yeah.
But which is a good question to ask.
Just to look at like basketball players, for example, I used to always look at Kevin Durant and think that his legs gonna fall off him. You know, like how do the feet be this long in the
DMV guy, man. That's a DMV. Who was the Jags linebacker? Not Miles Jack. It was Tevin.
The Florida State kid.
Yeah, Florida State kid. John. Yeah, Telvin Smith.
Telvin Smith was
same.
Like 20. He'll do was small, 225.
And he was good.
That was right at the I feel like the height of we got to get smaller linebackers to match the offenses. Now you see the change in the league where offense are now getting bigger, and you kind of got to, we can't have 220, 225 out there. And if you go look at Dan Quinn in Atlanta, he kind of ran with that when he drafted Deion Jones. Yeah. Deion Jones went like 225 or something like that. And now it's kind of going, we need to put a little bit more mass on these dudes, but we can't lose the athleticism because they still have to be space players. It's a chess match right now.
Now, I remember this way back in the days, and it's a different team, of course. Merton Hanks, y'all remember him?
Oh yeah,
he was lanky, but he would knock you out, and he'll different position though. But
bobblehead Hanks, man. Hey guys, what a great show! Gave you guys overtime. Happy Memorial Day to everybody, man. Skywalker Still, Law Nation, John Machota. I can't thank you guys enough.
Any cookouts from y'all?
Hey, you know what I did, man? Sky, I got a smoothie, man. I ate too much this weekend, so I gotta clean it up, man. Clean it up.
Y'all go to a cookout and invite me to the walk. That's all I
Hey. So John, we got OTAs on Thursday, correct? We'll have an update. So everybody, make sure you guys tap back in. You guys will get it directly from the horse's mouth. John Machota. And then after this week, either this week or next week, we'll be starting our new schedule, which will be 1 day a week. Just to kind of make sure that the topics don't get spread thin and we give you guys our best energy.
It's a dead period.
It's a dead period. Let's be honest. It's a dead period. I'm even going to take a break from YouTube for a little bit. I got to refresh. We all have to get ready for this trend. Because listen, like John said, you're going to be getting a lot of Pickens versus Elam. You're going to be up late at night watching highlights straight from John Machota. So, right. We got to make sure that we are ready for this rush. So, we can't thank you guys enough for joining us on the Cowboys Collective, powered by BetUS. Make sure that you guys are liking, sharing, subscribing, send it to your aunties, your cousins. Listen to it at the end of your cookout. You guys, some of y'all at a cookout right now. Listen to it.
Hey,
and
flip them ribs over there.
Law, take us away. And remember,
you're listening to the sounds of the Cowboys Collectives of the Four Horsemen. Come on with it.
Four Horsemen, man. We love y'all.
Here, let's get it.
Episode 36, episode 37 next week. We love you all. Peace.
Right.
That's law.